This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So as part of this module pool programming, I think in the last session we are discussing this one, how to design the drop-down list box, checkboxes, and radio buttons. We already designed it and we have tested it successfully. Okay. So if I go to Object Navigator SC80, right, from the drop-down, let me choose program. What is the last program name? Z830 mod 6. When I execute, right click, execute direct processing. Yeah, this is what the screen we got. We understood how to design the drop down list box. We have to convert the input IO field itself to what? Drop down by setting a property called as drop down. Right. So what is the next requirement here? If you see the validation here, by default, these three blocks should be invisible by default. The moment the dialog screen is displayed, these three blocks should be made what? Invisible. That is a requirement. Okay. So this is the program. I'll not do the changes in this program. Let me make a copy of this. Can we copy this program? Yes. I'll right click on the program and I'll say what copy. Okay. Z8 before that, make sure that this is in active state. Let me cancel. Right click on the program and say activate. Right. I'll right click on the program and I'll say copy. I'll copy this to target program but 7. Copy. Yeah, I want to copy all the things. So I'll copy. I'm copying the includes. I'm copying the screens, everything. Copy. Yeah, this is the name of the top include program in that source program. Here I'll give the name of the top include program is Z830 mod 7 top. Z830 mod 7 top. Continue. Done. Okay. So this is a program. Right click on the program and activate everything. Activate the flow logic, everything. Yes, it's activated. So this is the include program. Here it will show it as 6 only. Let me change it to 7. Activate everything. So when I execute, oh sorry, the T code will not be copied. Na? In order to execute the module program, I require a transaction code. So let me right click on the program and I'll say what? How do you create? Create what? Transaction. Let me give the T code name as something ZM7. I'll provide the description. T code for module program 7. Provide the program name Z830 mod 7. It has got only one screen. What is the screen number? 100. Let me select the checkbox. Save your transaction code. Right click on the program and say activate. Done. Execute this. Yeah, I got it. So what is the requirement now? The blocks should be made what? Invisible. So in order to make any of the screen elements, in order to control the screen appearance, in order to make some elements visible, invisible, enabled, disabled, all those kind of changes, if you want to control, we have to refer to a structure called as a screen structure. If you go to ABAP dictionary, if I go to SC11, right, in ABAP dictionary, we have a structure called as a screen. This is a predefined structure given by SAP itself. What is the structure name? Screen. It has got how many fields? 17 fields like name, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, required input, output, like that. Around 17 fields are there. what is the purpose of this screen structure is, whenever we execute any program, your program might contain a selection screen, or your program might contain a dialog screen, that is module pull screen. So the information related to your screen elements will be captured in the screen internal table. Means during every program execution, an implicitly created internal table called as a screen internal table will be available. That screen internal table contains the information of the screen elements. Okay, who is going to create that internal table? By SAP itself. Based on your screen elements, SAP itself will create the internal table. So to understand this clearly, it takes some time. So what happens here internally? SAP will create an internal table called as what? Screen internal table, which will look something like this. So assume this is your screen internal table, and this is a work area of your screen internal table. Okay, what this internal table gets created based on what structure? Screen structure. What are the fields here? Name, group 1 to group 4, required input, output, all those things. So here what happens? SAP will create the internal table based on this structure. So name, what is this? Group 1, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. What is this? Required input, output. Understood? Required input, output. What else? Intensified, invisible, length, all those things. Intensified, invisible. What else? Length. What else is there? Length, active, display underscore 3D, all those things. Display underscore 3D, value underscore help, request. Values underscore in underscore combo and color. Right, so this is a internal table which is created by what? SAP internally in every program based on what? Your screen structure. Based on that screen structure, SAP will create the internal table. That internal table we call it as what? Screen internal table, which should look something like this. So this is your name. Okay, this is group 1. What is this? Group 2, group 3, group 4, required. It takes some time, but there is no other way. We need to draw it. Input, output, intensified, invisible, length. What else? Active, display underscore what? 3D. What else? Value underscore help. Then what? Request. Then what? Values in combo. And what? Color. Okay, so this is how the internal table would be constructed internally. So let me put like this. Okay, so this is the internal table who is going to create by what? SAP itself. We are not going to create, it is created by what? SAP. What this internal table contains? It contains the information related to your screen elements. It contains the information to screen elements. What are the elements on your screen? We are having one text field, we have one drop down, we have one button, we have three boxes, we have three checkboxes, three radio buttons. Again, these three text fields. So for my understanding, let me collect the names of the screen elements. If I go to layout, okay, let me quickly correct the name. What is this? Name T1. What is the name of the listbox? IO1. This is B1. This is box 1. This is CB1. Like this. Good. Right. So I collected the names. So based on that screen elements, SAP will create the internal table internally. So what is the first field in the internal table here? Name. So that name, what is that first field? Text field. Next we have IO field, IO1. Then we have button. So it might be in any sequence, but I'm just taking this. Then we have box 1. Then we have checkboxes. What are the names? CB1, CB2, CB3. What is this? BX2. Like that, the chain continues. Make clear, it continues. So like that, the information related to all the screen elements are captured in the screen internal table. So this name field will hold what? Name of the, this name field will hold the name of the screen element. Okay. Acha, one more point is, can we see all the elements here? What are the elements we have designed? Let me activate this. What are the elements we have designed in the layout? All the elements we are able to see by default. Yes, we are able to see all the elements by default. Why we are able to see all the elements by default is, we in the screen structure itself, there is a field called as invisible. What is the data type here? Character of what? 1. Character of 1. So internally, for every screen element, the value of the invisible field will be 0. This invisible field will hold either 0 or what? 1. So by default, what is the value? 0. Since invisible is 0 by default internally, the element will be visible. So what is the understanding? If the invisible value is 0, what is the meaning? Element is what? Visible. If the invisible value is 1, element is what? Invisible. So you'll have two possible values for the invisible, 0 or 1. What is the default value? 0. Invisible is equal to 0 means element is what? Visible. Keep that in mind. Okay. Right. So this is the two important fields that I need to know at this stage. So this is the work area. Here also you'll have the fields. So what happens here? Whenever we execute any program, during every program execution, an implicitly created internal table called a screen internal table, which will be available. We can loop that internal table. We can manipulate that internal table to control the appearance of the screen. When I say screen here, it can be a selection screen or it can be a module pull screen, that is dialog screen. So the name field will hold what? Name of the screen field. Invisible value by default is what? 0. If invisible is 0, what is the meaning? The element is visible. So what is our agenda here? Yes, what is our agenda now? Yes, what is the agenda? When I execute the program, what is the requirement? These three blocks and its elements should be invisible by default. This is basically an internal table which is available for me by default. Okay, this is an internal table which is available by default in every program. Now I need to update the entries in this internal table. How do we do it? How do you update the entries in the internal table? Anyone? Already I think I covered modify statement. Did I cover modify? How to update the internal table entries by using modify statement. At the beginning of the course, when we discussed internal tables, I believe I covered modify. Okay, so I need to loop this internal table, and as part of that loop I need to use what modifies statement. So where I need to write the logic in the PBO, and we know that PBO event will be triggered multiple times, first time and as well as every time after PA. So I have to ensure that this default logic is executed only once. How do we ensure? Anyone? How do we ensure that this logic, default logic, whatever I want to execute, it has to be executed only once? How do we ensure? Anyone?
We have to use flags.
Good. Okay, we have to take some indicators, and based on the indicator, we have to control. So what I'll do in the top include program. Yeah, good. I'm getting the answers. Very good. Okay, I'll declare a variable data v underscore flag type what I. So by default, the integer variable will be what? 0. Already been declared. Huh? Acha, already I declared for some purpose might be. Where I declared was? Yeah, already I declared might be for preparing the drop down. I prepared it one. So in the PBO event, this is the first event triggered. If flag equal to 0, here only we are setting the second radio button to be selected by default, and we are preparing the value. So somewhere here before this end if, okay, the moment it enters if block, we are changing the flag value to what? 1. Okay, we are changing the flag value to 1. Okay, then somewhere before this if block only, yeah, before this if block, I'll write the logic. What is that? Logic for making what? Blocks to be invisible by default. So inside that if block only, I'll write one subroutine to write that logic. Perform, I'll say invisible blocks. Some subroutine name, any meaningful subroutine name. I'll double click on this subroutine. Does not exist. Let us create this subroutine in the top include program. Done. Yeah, see the technique here. Okay, so the moment it enters the flag, the moment it is a block, flag is changed to 1. Need not be 1. I can give any value whatever I want. I can set it to 50 also, other than 0. I am setting it as 50. Now what I'll do in this invisible blocks, I have to loop that internal table. Na? I have to loop that internal table. Loop at what? Screen. Actually, I have not created this internal table. It will be available during every program execution. This internal table will be constructed by SAP itself. Loop at screen. Then when you loop here, each record will come to work area. Na? So if screen hyphen name, understood? Each record will come to what? Work area. When each record comes to work area, if screen hyphen name equal to what are the names was bx1, bx1 or, okay, write the logic. If screen hyphen name equal to what is that? Checkbox 1, cb1 or screen hyphen name equal to what is this? cb2 or screen hyphen name equal to what? What is that? cb3, checkbox 3 or screen hyphen name equal to bx2 or screen hyphen name equal to what? rb1 or screen hyphen name equal to what is this? rb2 or if screen hyphen name equal to what is this? rb3 or if screen hyphen name equal to box 3 or what are the names of the text fields I give? The text fields names what I give. If I go to layout, what are the names I gave here for this? T2, T2, this is T3 and what? T4, T2, T3 and T4. Good. So here I'll say box 1, what is this? Box 3 is the one. No? What is this? TF2 or what is this? TF3 or what is this? TF4. If it is TF2 or TF3 or TF4, what I have to do? Screen hyphen invisible equal to 1. So this will update what? Updates what? Work area. Rest when you loop here, each record will come to work area. Na? So what are the changes you do? That will be done in what? Work area level. How do you update the internal table? By using what? Modify statement. So here I'll say modify. Simply say what? Screen. This will update what? Record updates what? Corresponding record in what? Internal table. That's it. Okay. End for if is end for loop is end loop. That's all. Oh, sorry. End for if is end if. This one. Save it. Check for the syntax and activate. So very simple logic. So where I am writing this logic in the PBO event, because that is the first event triggered, and this logic should be executed only once. So initially flag is what? 0. It will enter that if block. For this if block, somewhere before closing the if block, I am calling one subroutine. I am looping that screen internal table so that each record will come to what? Work area. Am I clear? Each record will come to work area. So something like this. First record will come here. First record will come here. Is if condition is satisfied? Not satisfied. Am I clear? This is a if condition. If screen hyphen name equal to bx1 or cb1 or cb2 or like this, each record will come. If condition not satisfied for the first three elements, for the fourth element for bx1, if you see, this bx1 will be populated. Understood? bx1 will be populated. So this would be populated. So what is that value? I'll get it here. bx1. What is this? bx1. What is, I'm not bothered with other fields. What is the value? I'll get 0. What you are doing, if the if condition is satisfied, it will enter that loop. Na? If screen hyphen invisible equal to 1. So we are setting that value at the work area level. We are setting it to what? 1. So this 0 will be overwritten with how much? 1. Na? Will be overwritten with what? 1 at the work area level. We have to update the body. Na? So you have to use modify. SAP will have the intelligence which record it has populated. It has populated this bx1. Na? So at the body level, it will update this. So I'll put the arrow pointer like this. Best it will have the intelligence which record it has updated. So comparing with the header, it will update the body. So this 0 would be overwritten with what? 1. Na? This is your 1. It gets updated. So who is going to do this task? By what? Modify statement. Modify statement will do the changes to the corresponding record in the body. Like that, the chain continues for the rest of the elements. So now onwards, wherever we have the requirement to control the appearance of the screen, we need to loop this screen internal table and manipulate this internal table accordingly. Right? So when I execute this, good. Acha, why it is not? Why this is not disabled?
Sub name change. I think.
Oh, I gave names T2, na? T2, T3, and T4, right? Not TF. None. So when I execute, yes, all the elements are invisible by default. Right? So what is the next requirement now? From the drop down, I'll select a value. The moment I select a value, what is happening by default? All the elements are made invisible. No, only that particular block should be made what? Visible. So let's see how to control that. Yeah, before I do that, any questions up to this point? Okay, so assume that we have done it. Now, what is the next requirement? I am doing the action in the drop down list box. Na? I am going to select a value in the drop down list box. So we know earlier that whenever we click on a button on a dialog screen, what is the event triggered? PA, right? Similarly, Similarly, when I select a value in the drop-down list box, SAP triggers a event called as PI. So what I'll do is, for this drop-down list box, let me try to set the function code. I'll go to layout. If it is an input field, I cannot set the function code, but we have converted this IO field to drop down. No? So I'll double click. Yeah, oh, already I gave the function code. What is the function code? I gave FC2. For the drop down list box, I gave the function code is FC2. So whenever we select a value in the dialog screen drop down list box, SAP triggers an event called as PAI. SAP triggers an event called as PAI, and the function code of the drop-down list box will be captured in the system field SciUCOM, and the key of the selected value is captured in the list box internally. What are the keys I gave for my values? K1, K2, K3. For every value in the drop-down, we have to give the keys. I gave the keys as K1, K2. So what is the point you have to understand here? Whenever we select a value in the drop down list box, what is the event triggered? SAP triggers an event called as PA event, and the function code of that drop down list box is captured in the system field SciUCOM, and the key of the selected value will be captured in the list box internally, right? What is the name of the list box in my case? What is the name of the list box in our case? IO1. IO1 is the name of the list box. So what is the event triggered PI? So see the technique here. In the PI event, I need to identify which value I have selected. So I'll double click on the PI event. Case you come when FC2. What is the function code of the drop down list box? FC2. When FC2. And what happens here? The function code is captured in the system field SciUCOM, and the key of the selected value will be captured in the list box internally. What is the name of the list box? IO1. If IO1 equal to K1, when it will be K1? If you have selected the first value, internally the list box will contain what? K1. Internally we cannot see that. If IO1 equal to K1, I'll set the flag value as 1. Else if IO1 equal to K2, I'll set the flag value as what? 2. Else if IO1 as K3, I'll set the flag value as what? 3. So what is the understanding? If flag equal to 1 means the user has selected first value. If the flag is 2 means the user has selected second value. But I may get an error here. What is the error I am getting? Field IO1 is unknown. So already we know, if you are using the screen fields in the program, the screen fields has to be declared. So I'm using this IO1. Let me declare. So here I'll say, observe this carefully. Here I'll say data IO1 of 2. Why? Because what is the keys I give? K1, K2, K3. Maximum 2 characters only. Na? IO1 of 2 type C. So what is the meaning here? Whenever we select a value in the drop-down list box, what is the event triggered by SAP? PI. The function code will be captured in the system field SciUCOM, and the key of the selected value will be captured in the list box internally. So if IO1 is K1, I'm setting the flag value as 1, K2 means 2, like that. After triggering PA, it triggers PBO. Na? So in the what is the last event which gets triggered? PBO. So the screen refreshing logic should always be implemented in the final event which gets triggered. I repeat, the screen refreshing logic should always be implemented in the final event which is getting triggered. After PA, what is the next event triggered? PBO. Na? So that is the final event. So what I'll do here in the PBO event, if flag equal to 0, that is the initial part. Okay, there here I'll say else if v underscore flag equal to 1 means a user has selected first value. Na? Do something. Else if v underscore flag equal to 2 means the user has selected the second value. Else if v underscore flag equal to 3 means do so and so. Flag 1 means what? What is the meaning? First value selected. 2 means what? Second value selected. So for understanding, I'm giving this message. What is this? Third value selected. So if flag equal to 1, understood? If flag is equal to 1, okay, I'll call one subroutine perform. So if the flag is 1 means what? When the flag will become 1 if the user has selected the first value. So the screen refreshing logic should always be implemented in the final event which is getting triggered. What is the last event which gets triggered before refreshing the screen? PBO. Na? That's why we have tried the logic here. If you write this logic in PA, it doesn't work. You will not get any error, but the screen will not be refreshed. It should be written always in the last event which gets triggered. So perform. What I have to do if the user has selected the first value? I have to make the first block visible. Second and third block should be invisible again. So I'll say I'll call one meaningful subroutine perform visible block 1. So I'll double click on this. In the top include program I'll write. So what is the logic I'll write here? I have to loop the screen internal table once again. So I'll just copy this as it is. Yeah, here you see the change. If screen name equal to bx1 or cb1 or cb2 or cb3 or even what, that text field screen name equal to t1 or screen name equal to io1 or screen name equal to button b1 or screen name equal to bx1 cb1 cb2 cb3 up to this. What I have to do? I have to make them visible. Na? So I'll say screen invisible equal to 0. Screen invisible equal to 0. Else if the screen name equal to other than those things, bx2, rb1, what is that, rb3 or bx3 or the elements in that. If it is so and so, what I'll do here? What I have to do? I have to what? Set that screen I have to keep them invisible only. Na? Screen invisible equal to 1. Understood? If it is equal to so and so, I'm setting invisible equal to 1. And for if is what? And if somewhere here I have to update the internal table. So here I'll say what? Modify screen. That's all. This logic is not required now. Already I wrote it. That's all. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. I don't have any errors. Right? I don't have any errors. So screen name equal to t1 or io1 or b1 or bx1 or so on. So I'm making them as what? What is this? Screen 0 invisible equal to 0 means what? This is what? Invisible. Sorry, visible. Screen invisible equal to 0 it is visible. Invisible equal to 1 means what? It is invisible. I have to update the internal table. No? So after if block, I'm updating it. Done. That's all. Save it. Check for the syntax, activate. Write the similar kind of logic for other blocks. So if, yeah, here I'll say perform. I have to make the second block visible. Na? So visible block to let me define this subroutine. Similar kind of logic. So I'll choose stop include program. Done. Okay, I'll just copy this logic with some slight changes. Yeah. What is that you have to do here? These three things should be anywhere visible. What is this now? bx2. What is this? rb1, rb2, rb3. Okay. Then here I have to make the box 1 to be invisible. So this is cb1, this is cb2, this is cb3, and this is anywhere bx3. That's all. Right. So save it. Check for the syntax. No errors. Let me write the similar kind of logic for the third this thing. Perform what? Visible block 3. I have to make the third block visible and the rest of the 2 blocks is invisible. Let me copy the logic here. Yeah. So here, this 3 should be anywhere visible. What is this here? BX3, yeah? BX3. And what is this? T1. This is not T1, T2, I think. T2. This is T3. They have to give the names in uppercase. T4. This is T4. Okay, T2, T3, T4, and this box 1 and this is box 2 now. What is this? BX2. And what is this? RB1 and this is RB2. I have to keep them invisible only. So RB3, that's all. Save it and just check for the syntax. So very simple. Whenever we select a value in the drop-down list box, what is the event it triggered? The event it triggered is what? PAI. PAI. Okay, and the function code will be captured in the system field SciUCOM, and the key of the selected value will be captured in the drop-down list box internally. That's the reason I'm checking if I1 equal to K1. I'm not writing the logic directly in the PA event. It will not work. I have to write the screen refreshing logic. Screen refreshing logic means where you are controlling the appearance of the elements. That logic should always be implemented in the final event. So after PA, what is the next event triggered in the queue? PBO. So here I'm just setting the indicators. After this, what happens? Control goes to what? PBO. So when the control goes to PBO, based on the flag value, I'm writing the conditions. If flag equal to 1 means it is understood that you have selected the first value. So I'm making the first block visible and second and third invisible. Like that for the rest of the conditions also. Let us execute and check. Right? Execute direct processing. Done. By default, all are invisible. I'll select institutes. What happens? SAP triggers PA event and the function code of this list box. What is the function code? FC2 na? You will be captured in the system field SciUCOM. And what is the value of this institutes? Key of this institutes K2 na? That K2 will be captured in the list box internally. IO1 will be K2 internally. Based on that, I am setting the flag indicators. Based on that, we are controlling the logic in the PBO. So if I choose institutes here, good. What happened? Institutes block is visible. I'll choose locations. Locations block is visible. I'll choose courses. Courses block is visible. Make clear. Again, I'll choose locations. Working fine now. So this is how we will control the appearance of the screen elements by manipulating the screen internal table, and the screen refreshing logic should always be implemented in the final event which gets triggered. That's it. Any questions, please ask.
Sir, in first block, we all the blocks we have visible the IO1 field. It is necessary because we have not
Yeah, because
invisible it previously.
correct. Good question. Even though you are not made invisible, according to this condition, if I don't write those things, what happens is, yeah, where is that? Visible block 1. Okay, suppose here, as you said, I'll not write this. Okay, what you are saying is directly you want me to check this only, right? Okay, because you are not earlier made a T1, IO1, B1 as invisible. Okay,
Yes.
let's see what happens. Check for the syntax. So for the first block, you remember, I have commented it. Let me activate everything. Right, so anyhow by default invisible. I'll select courses. Oh, working fine now. I'll choose institutes. Working fine now. Locations, working fine. Again, I'll choose courses. Institutes, working fine. So not a mandatory, I think. So working now. So since it is working, okay, good. So not required. Not required. So I'll remove this. Here also, I'll remove it. Why to comment? I'm removing it. Here also, where is that? These three, na? No, not this. Yeah, here. Yeah, done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Activate this. So since we have not made them invisible by default, I need not cross check it separately. Let's see. Activate. Courses, good. Working. Institutes, yes. Locations, yeah, working fine. Right. So not required. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. Here I can do one small change. Okay. I'll do it in the separate program. Okay. What I'll do is here we are checking each and every element. Separately we are checking each and every element. So I don't want to do that. I want to do screen grouping. I want to do screen grouping. So what I'll do is I'll right click on the program. I'll copy it to 8. I'll copy it to 8. Continue. Let me give the name of the top include program as, because I don't want to disturb the earlier one. 8 top. Done. Okay, so 8 program is created. Let me go to the top include program. The program name, it will show it as 7. Let me change it to 8. Even if it doesn't change, doesn't matter, it would work. Done. So next, what I have to create the T code. Right click on the program, create what? Transaction. Let me give the T code ZM8. Provide the description. Done. Provide the program name Z830 mod 8. Screen number. Let me give it as 100. As usual, I'll select these checkboxes. Save it. Right click on the program, activate. Yes, it is activated. Let me execute this. Let me activate everything. Right, working fine. Institutes, courses, also what locations. Done. So what I'll do is I will do the screen grouping. What I'll do is if you go to the screen layout, okay, at the layout level, observe this carefully. These three, I'll put it in one group. These three. So what I'll do here, I'll double click on this first text field. You can see here there is a groups here. There are 4 boxes here. 4 boxes. So I'll give this as G1. You can give any name. In the first box, I'm giving G1. For this IO field, drop down list box, I'll set the group as G1. And for this exit, I'll set the group as G1. Okay, done. Then this box is in the first box only I'm setting. I'll give it as G2. I can set everything in the first box. G2. This checkbox, this also I'll set it to G2, and I miss this. This also I'll set it to G2, and this I'll set it to G2. Right, and this third box or second box, I'll set it as G3. Screen grouping we call it as. This radio button, I'll set it to G3. This also I'll set it to G3. This is called a screen grouping, G3. Then locations, I'll set it to G4. This text field, I'll set it to what? G4. In the first box only I'm setting. Second input field, I'll set the group as G4. This also I'll set it to what? G4. This also is G4, already G4. Done. So we have four screen groups. We have four screen groups. Activate this. Done. It is activated. Okay. See the advantage of screen grouping. When do we go for screen grouping? When you want to set similar properties for more than one element, you can go for screen grouping. So what is the logic I'll write now? Here in the PBO event, in the PBO event model, yeah, somewhere here we are making some blocks as invisible. Na? So here I'll say, right, in the screen structure, if you observe, we have some fields here. In the screen structure, if you observe, we have some fields, group 1, group 2, group 3. We have four boxes. Na? In which box I gave the group name? In the first box only. So compare only with group 1. If you propose a group name in the second box, compare with the group 2, like that. Okay. So what I'll do here, I'll say first or those three boxes should be made invisible. Na? So see the advantage. I'll say instead of comparing with individual names, I'll say if screen hyphen group 1 equal to G2, or if screen hyphen group 1 equal to G3, or what is this, screen hyphen group 1 equal to G4, do all of them are not invisible. Am I clear? This is the default logic. Let me activate and check. Done. It is activated. So only for invisible I did it. When I right click, when I execute this, yes, they are made invisible. Now if I select this institutes, working fine. If I choose locations, working fine. If I choose courses, working fine. So here also, if you want, you can do it. So in the PBO event, here only, yeah, here I'll say flag equal to 1. We are making the block 1 as visible. Na? So what I can do here, instead of comparing these elements like this, I'll say if what, screen hyphen group 1 equal to G2, you make them as visible. And here what I can do, instead of comparing these two things, here I'll say if screen hyphen group 1 equal to G3 or G4, if screen hyphen, what is this, group 1 equal to G4, do like this. Am I clear? So that is the advantage. Here also I have to make the second block visible. Na? So what I'll do here, I'll say if screen hyphen group 1 equal to G3, you make them as not visible. And here G1, G2 and G4, I have to make them as what, invisible. Okay, so screen hyphen group 1 equal to G2 or G4, make them as invisible. Done. Similarly here also for the third one, G4, na? Yeah, here I'll say if screen hyphen group 1 equal to G4, you make them as visible. And for this one, you set this G2 and G3 have to make them as invisible. So here I'll say, sorry, screen hyphen group 1 equal to G2 or G3, you make them as invisible. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Activate. Understood? So this is the advantage of screen grouping. If you want to set common properties for more than one element, you try to group them in one screen group. So activate and execute. Right, by default this is fine. Here I'll choose locations. Good. Locations is made visible. I'll choose courses. Courses is made visible. I'll choose institutes. Working fine. Right, so this is how you'll write it. Yeah, hope this is clear to everyone. Any questions, please ask. Screen grouping. Clear? So this is your screen grouping. Since I gave the group name in the first box, I am comparing with group 1 node. If you have given in the second box, compare with group 2. Okay, like that. One more thing I can discuss here only. When I execute this program, already we know this is the selection screen. If you assume this is a selection screen, whenever we select a value in the checkbox, what is the event triggered at selection screen? Here, whenever we select or deselect a checkbox, the event triggered is PAI. Did I give any function codes for the checkboxes? Yes, what is this? FC3, FC4 and FC5. So here, whenever we select or deselect a checkbox, what is the event triggered? PAI. So in the PAI event, understood? So here I'll say when what? If you are interacted with checkbox 3, I may select or deselect now if CB1 equal to X. I'll just give the message what? Checkbox 1 what? Selected. I'm just giving the messages. Type what? I. Okay, else I'll say checkbox 1 deselected. Is it clear? So this event is triggered whether you select or deselect. Write the similar logic for other checkboxes. FC3, what is this? FC4, when FC4 CB2 equal to X. This I'll say checkbox 2 selected, checkbox 2 deselected. Then similarly, when what? What is the radio function code of the third checkbox? FC5. If CB3 equal to X, do so answer. Checkbox 3 selected, else checkbox 3 deselected. Save it.
Sir, CB4, CB2 else.
CB2, sorry, CB2. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Yeah, I'm using the screen elements in the program. You have to declare them. Na? So I'll declare those 3 checkboxes. The checkboxes will have either X or space. Na? So CB1 type C. Type C means character 1 only. Na? CB2 type C. CB3 type C. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. Done. It is activated. Okay, so what is the understanding? Whenever we select or deselect a checkbox in the dialog screen, what is the event triggered? PAI. In case of selection screen, it is at selection screen. So if the checkbox is selected, the value will be X, otherwise without space. I'm giving the appropriate message. So you write the appropriate logic, but I'm just flashing the messages. So when I activate and execute, right, I'll select the courses. Done. I'll select this ANA. What happened? Checkbox 2 selected. I'll select UI5. What is the checkbox 3 selected? Right? I'll deselect this ANA. Checkbox 2 deselected. Understood? So selection means I have to do some activity. Deselected means some other activity like this. Checkbox 1 selected. This is checkbox 3 deselected. Clear? So the event triggered is what? PAI, and the checkbox will have X if it is selected, or space if it is deselected. Similarly, for radio buttons, the same event is triggered. What is that event? PA. Did I give any did I give any function code for that radio button group? FC6? No, I didn't get the function code. Let me give. Up to FC5 I used. Na? So for this entire first radio button, I'll say FC6. FC6. Same radio button, same function code will be assigned for the other radio buttons. If I double click on this, yes, you can see FC6. This also what? FC6. Because they belong to what? Same radio button group. So what is the event triggered here? Same, PI only. So in the PI event, here I'll say, what is this? When FC6. In a group of radio buttons, I can select only one radio button. If RB1 equal to X, I'll just give a message. Radio button 1, what? Selected. Type what? I. Else if. Okay, I have to go for else if now. RB2 equal to X. I'll say radio button 2 selected. Okay, else if RB3 equal to what? X. If RB3 is X, I'll say radio button 3 selected. Type what? I. End for if is end if. That's all. So here also, whenever we select a radio button, The event triggered is PI. The function code is captured in what? System field IUCOM. So since I'm using screen elements, I need to declare it. Let me declare it. Okay, so this is RB1, RB2, RB3. RB2 is already been declared. Where? Acha, because initially you made, to make the default, I declared this RB2. So that's why I'll remove this from here. I'll keep it there only so that everything will be at the same place. That activate this. Okay, so when I execute, when I activate and execute, I'll select institutes, radio buttons I got, I'll select this one. What happened? Radio button 3 selected. I'll choose radio button 1 selected. Again, I'll choose this radio button 3 selected. I'll choose this radio button 2 selected. So whenever we select a radio button on the dialog screen, the event triggered is PAI and the function code is captured in the system field IUCOM and the value of the radio button will be set to X, which indicates that it is selected. That's it. This is the whole program and the whole validations. Any questions, please ask. Right, so we have seen the drop down list box, checkboxes, radio buttons, screen grouping, all those things. Okay, tomorrow we'll see another control, most probably table control. We already discussed tab strip control, I think. Did I discuss tab strip control earlier? Yeah, so let us discuss tomorrow table control. Done. So I'll wind up then. I'll send the material today as well as the recording. Right, chala then. We'll discuss tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.